Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the FPL Pubcast, the live stream where usually every Wednesday at 6 o'clock we preview the game week. Although tonight, with this special Christmas turnaround, we're here on a Monday night. We're also going to be here on Friday night for game week 20 and next Monday night for game week 22. Welcome. What we're going to do in this one, we're going to look through how we got in game week 18. Obviously, it's a very, very tight turnaround. Deadline is 6 o'clock tomorrow for game week 19. I'm sure you're all aware. We're going to have a look at the best midfielders and defenders to bring in, including a couple of debates we've got lined up on a certain Schade and Szoboszlai, who one of us may love and one of us may not love so much. We'll have a look, preview the game week, have a look at our differentials and our transfers and plans. So joining me, I'll welcome, first of all, he couldn't join us on Saturday, and I think this is the first time he's been on the pubcast. So a good month and a half, isn't it? Darius, FPL Dean, how you doing, mate?
I'm good. The hair's not quite as itchy as it was on Saturday. I've been given some nerve pain to help with the pain. I've got the cream on, and the D unit is ready to do some cooking tonight. It's good to be back. I felt like the lock-in missed the point on a few of the games, so I'm here to correct the annals of the history of the lock-in tonight as well for the viewers that I know that joined and were backing up the D unit sports for me on Saturday night.
And joining us for the third podcast in a row, and by the way, these gentlemen will be joining me on the next two podcasts. Kanji, how you doing, Kanji, man?
Oh, hello. I'm doing great. Excited to chat some Newcastle and Liverpool today.
And of course, my lovely co-host Nick, the man formerly known as Trig. How you doing, Trig?
Evening all. Yep, good. Looking forward to this one.
Yep. After a little bit of. No, I won't go into that. Trig spent about 10 minutes trying to put his contact lenses in before. I think you might have put them in the wrong way, didn't you, Trig? Are they feeling all right now, mate?
Yeah, they're good now. Sometimes if you put them in back to front, they're a bit painful for a few seconds.
Yeah, I'd never wear them. My dad told me once he used to wear them when he had the glass ones, and he dropped it into a curry once when he was out on a date. It's put me off wearing them. So before we start, let's say hello to people in the chat. Hi to Hippie, hi to John, hi to Lee, hi to Easy Sailor, KH, hi Prog, hi to also we got in there FPL Nightmare. I think it's looking after his kids today. Hi Nightmare and your kids if they can hear us. Hi to Rob Taff, Beanie, Claire FPL. Anyone else I missed? Tom Fortin and Krakow, Alex Sweet, James, and many others. Zara, sorry, I think I've covered everyone there. All right, so we'll start off. Obviously, if you're new around here, please hit the subscribe button and please also hit the like to help get the stream out there. So we go through our teams in order of how badly we did last game week, and he's back on, so we'll get him on straight away. Technically, his score was not the worst as he got 49 points. But when you minus the 12 off, he's down to 37 points. That's FPL D unit, who's now on 2 million. So I'll quickly read for his team. Sanchez 3, Mukalele 4, O'Reilly 1, Tarkowski 8, is that? Cunha 2, Verts 10, Foden 2, Rice 5, Eka TK 10, Bowen 2 and Haaland 2, and you captain. Who did you captain? Oh yeah, you captained Ekatike, didn't you? Yeah, talk us through it, mate.
Yeah, look, this was the breadth of a Liverpool post away from actually being the top scorer of the week. Because if Ekatike had scored that goal, I actually would have outscored everyone on this show. Like, that is the margins of FPL, the definition of being lucky versus being maybe just down the middle of the road luck. And obviously, Verts and Ekatike, that would have been the unbelievable GOAT move. Minus 12, if that goal had gone in, I tell you what, that we'd be sitting there at the moment going, what an absolute undignified genius the D unit is. Takes a minus 12 off all these sheep with 5 transfers, sit there and don't do anything because the analytics mob said, let's wait for Szoboszlai to come back in game week 19, the 2-point machine, and get him.
What were your transfers?
Other than that, say it again.
What were your transfers, man?
Oh, so yeah, we obviously bought in Ekitike, but I mean,
Yeah.
the captaincy was a good move. So he beat the Haaland. The Haaland sheep were left in the bin for once, which was nice to see. Just that post would have been very nice. If it had been a biblical turn like that, it would have been justified. Verts obviously came in for Fernandez. Cunha came in for Saka, which was disappointing. And Bowen obviously came in for Welbeck. So across the board, I'm actually up on the points from the transfers, except unfortunately I couldn't quite cover the -12, but we went pretty damn close. And if Mukiele had kept that clean sheet yesterday and Tarkowski hadn't had his point robbed, like Trig said a day after, which is just ridiculous. And I'm with Trig. My team has been affected by points being removed the day after on 6 different occasions this season. I've never yet gained one back. And yet, believe it or not, Bruno Fernandes, post the deadline, has had his DCs altered to the point where he would have got them. It just goes to show that being a Man United fan screws you over more times than I care to mention more than anything else.
Mm. It was. I'm just thinking, in general, it was a very low-scoring game week, wasn't it? Because I'm the same. If I'd have started Dubravka instead of Keller, I think I'd have been on a big green arrow. It was a. What's the highest score you've seen? I did see one that was like 100 and. Did you see that one I sent you guys? He'd taken a 36-point hit, but he'd scored 120 odd points. So he ended up with 90. I don't know how he had like triple Everton defense. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's one of them ones where I sit there and like, I was so close to pulling the hit off, like so close. As I said, if that Ekitike shot had gone in, I would have top scored this week in the pubcast. That was the definition of going so close, but yet so far. And to be honest, if you take a -12 and you've got a red arrow of like not very much, I think you take that because like look at my team this week. I don't need to take a hit. All of a sudden, I've got the players you want, and it's happy days. And yet I've sat there and set it up. And Hippie took a -20, got a green arrow. And this just goes to show that sometimes it just pays when a week where you think it might be low scoring and you get a couple of good players that pop off, which in my case, I did have a few players that popped off. I took on the Haaland captain. You can almost gain the points back with a couple of strategic moves. It pays to take hits. Otherwise, you sit there and like, look, I could have left my team like last week. This week, the team looks like crap if I'd left how it was last week. This week now, I look at it and go, you know what? It might not have paid off last week, but I bet you it pays off this week, baby.
Yeah, there's a fine line between like stupidity and genius, and you were on the verge of greatness.
Nightmare commenting. Gary's called number one in his own mind. Sorry, Dick.
You crossed it a long time ago, the dividing line between genius and madness.
Okay, let's move on to my team. So I'm on 42 points, 184k. I think it's my third green arrow, might even be red arrow, sorry, in a row. So I bought in Kelleher. Actually, I'll go for my team first. Kelleher 4, Anderson 5, Lacroix 3, Vandenberg obviously didn't play. So I was down to 10 men. Minter 1, Saka 7, Cunha 2, Foden 2, Semenyo 9, Haaland captain 4, Ekitike 5. Yeah, so this is one of the ones. This is the narrative I'm going to give here, right? So I had 5 free transfers. I decided to make 3. So I went Ekitike, Thiago to Ekitike quite early on. Monday, I think it was, and Bruno to Cunha. Obviously, they literally, I think, scored the same points. I went Kelleher to, Dubravka, Petrovic to Kelleher, which actually lost me points the second week in a row because I would have started Dubravka. So that lost me 7 points. But if I'd have actually made all 5 free transfers, my other plans would have been to take Lacroix out and get Tarkowski in, and would have been to get Semenyo out and get Schade in. So if I'd made those 2 additional moves, I'd be like 25 points up. Do you know what I mean? It just shows how, sometimes pushing it out, like the Kelleher transfer cost you. But then if I'd have pushed it out even further, I'd have been well up. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm a bit disappointed. I mean, I was similar to yourself, Kanji. Very Timber on the bench, or not even in the squad. Vandenberg not even in the squad. Richards, I don't think he was in the squad either, was he? It was really cut down. I mean, Trig, do you reckon I should have had more stored away on the bench? We're going to get into a discussion about that a bit later, but for such contingencies?
No, I think it's fine. I mean, you couldn't expect Van der Beek not to play, and Timber.
No.
Look, you had no idea Timber wasn't going to play. Richards was a doubt, but no, I don't think not much you can do about it.
No, the thing is, I could have spent money and had an additional player instead of GUI, but I would then have had an extra million on my bench for the last God knows how many game weeks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think he's fine. So yeah, it was a disappointing game week, but we just move on at this stage. As I heard him say on FPL today, at least you've only got a day or so to look at the red arrow. You know what I mean? It's like the opposite of a what do you call it? International break. So let's get on the Trig's team. I think I think the only green arrow was Kanji. So Trig got 47 points down. I'm imagining it's a very small red. Is it Trig to 133k?
Yeah, it was Tarkovsky having his point removed made the difference between a green and a red.
Right. So Trig's team: Sanchez 3, O'Reilly 1, Virgil 2, Lacroix 3, Tarkovsky 8, Verts 10, Foden 2, Saka 7, Cunha 2, Haaland Cap 4, Thiago 5. Yeah, talk through it, mate.
Reasonably happy with it. I mean, I could sit here like Darius and you and go on about all these points I could have had if Thiago done this and Thiago done that. But it's all a load of bollocks. And we get this every single week where players hit the post, players miss, players do this, players do that. There's no good worrying about what you could have done. It's what your points are. That's the only thing that matters, isn't it? And if you take a -12 and your players don't do the business, basically you end up with 30 odd points. So there's no good saying Ekatike could have done this, Ekatike could have done that. I didn't even have Ekatike. So I was quite pleased this week, actually, because it was a bit of a risk not going with the sheep and getting Ekatike in. FOMO was huge. There was a lot of pressure to rip up my structure, use all my transfers and get Ekatike. But it wasn't easy for me to get him in, so I didn't bother. I got Verts instead. Did very well. Verts now looks like a proper FPL asset. So we're finally seeing him bedding in. And there's no way I'm taking him out this week, as Solia wants me to do. Wants me to take him out and bring in Szoboszlai, which is not going to happen. So pretty happy with the team going forward. Saving this week, but we'll look at that later. But
any regrets about not starting the legend Joachim Andersen?
No, because it was a logical decision to bench him. It's just one of those things. When you've got kind of 5 defenders that are fairly equal, including the 2 Andersons, you've got no idea which one's going to get the most points. So probably there's about a 40% chance that one of your higher scoring players is going to be on the bench. So not much you can do about it.
No, true. Okay, let's move on to Kanji's team. So Kanji top of the pile this week, just with an extra point, which I think just got you a green now, didn't it, Kanji? So 369k, Raya 2, O'Reilly 1, Anderson 5, Keane 10, very nice there. Verts 10, Saka 7, Foden 2, Szoboszlai, what did he get? Oh, 0. Yeah, of course, yes, he was banned, wasn't he? Cunha 2, Haaland 4, and Thiago 5. Yeah, I saw you do a post earlier, wasn't it, mate? Something achievement unlocked, a green arrow with 10 men.
Exactly, yeah. It's a new achievement unlock. Somehow I've outscored all of these guys and I have less players than them. I'm trying to play FPL on hard mode this season. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Like, I'm not, like, I didn't plan for Calafiori to like disappear as well as Richards in the same week. I also had injuries to Bruno and it's just too many transfers that I needed to handle. And then unfortunately it just everything happened in the same week. Like Richards, like Bruno, like all these guys have been so nailed and all these guys they missed the same game in the same week. So nothing you can do sometimes but hold the L. But I'll happily take 48 points and move on. Like my mini league rivals must be fuming in the worst week that I have on paper with 10 men. They still can't gain ground on me. So that just goes to show you how great my team is. And I'm excited to move on to the next few weeks.
We're going to talk about Szoboszlai a little bit later. What's your opinion on Verts? Is it changed, Kanji? Do you still think he's a sell fairly quickly, or is he convinced you to keep hold for a while.
Yeah, so I had a DM from FPL Proj. He wanted me to mention Florian Wirtz's performance, and Nick and I were chatting about this in the group chat earlier. It seems like when Wirtz was bought, he didn't really fit into the system that we had under Klopp. So like he definitely looked to see like a formation change or like some sort of transition into a new system where Wirtz is going to become a key cog, because we didn't really have a 10 that was playing like properly as a 10. And so Wirtz is kind of becoming that guy, but he's not playing it the 10 from midfield. He's kind of on the left-hand side, flowing into the middle and then controlling the game. And like for the last 3 or 4 games, he's actually been impacting the final third, like getting goals and assists. He's been playing very well. I think we're going to have to wait and see, because Gakpo is back in the lineup potentially next week or the week after. He'll be playing back on the left. Is the coach going to play Wirtz in the 10 and Szoboszlai on the right? Like, we don't really know exactly what's going to happen. So we'll have to monitor Wirtz's minutes. But his performances have been incredible. Him and Ekitike have been the best players the last few weeks. So I think we can hold for now. And the fixtures coming up are excellent. If you can overlook the Arsenal fixture, which is going to be tough, you have Leeds at home, Fulham away, Burnley at home, and then Bournemouth away. Bournemouth defense is terrible. So I think those are great fixtures. Now, obviously, you have Arsenal in the middle. But I think he's a hold for now. And then you can look to sell him, I think, after that.
Yeah, he's looking like the player you actually thought you bought. What it was, yeah. Okay, right, let's move on to some talking points. So I've entitled this New Year plans. Obviously, it's New Year in a couple of days. It's a game week. Oh, the game starts before, doesn't it? Because I think Wednesday's New Year's Eve, isn't it? So I thought we'd have a chat through, and we'll move off into a couple of discussion points as we go along. But first of all, I thought we'd discuss the best defenders. So for myself, for example, I've got an absolute nightmare this week. I don't know if Timber and Van der Berg are going to play. I'm assuming Richards isn't. So I thought we'd talk about the best defenders. I'll open up with Gabriel and your thoughts on that, but then I'll just ask you in general who you think the best defenders are for bringing in at the minute. Do you want to start us off? Gabriel obviously was on the bench at the weekend. I could afford to easily switch from Timber to him. He's actually less expensive now. Do you think that's a wise move? And what's your thoughts?
It's a move. I think if you need a defender and you've got the money and you like Arsenal, then it's a decent move. But I do think that Timber will probably play. I mean, he's probably just as likely to play as Gabriel, isn't he? I mean, Gabriel's not 100% certain that he's going to start the game.
No.
I think he would. But maybe Arteta brought him on for 5 minutes to make Villa think that he was going to start him. You never know with Arteta what his plans are. I mean, he might just get half an hour this week. But
you've got... Sorry, Cliff.
Be a good option if you need a defender.
You've got Calafiori. I guess he's a bit less expensive than Timber, but any thoughts on doing that switch?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand who are the Arsenal players that you want longer term. Are you going to be a fan of Rice and then getting to Bruno plus Palmer? Are you going to want to get to Saka all season long because you want him as potential captaincy option against Holland? But I think having one of Rice or Saka will be very important long term. And then I think the number one defender is going to be Gabriel, not just because of his XGI and him getting the goals and assists from corners and their set piece FC, but he also gets the DEFCONs. And it's just his position in the system is like getting the clean sheets, getting the DEFCONs, getting the bonus. Like Gabriel is an elite pick. I don't think it's about like if you bring him in, it's about when you bring him in. And with Calafiori picking up the knock, and this was like a weekend, and now there's a midweek game and then another game. It's like within the span of 10 days, there's 3 games. I don't think Calafiori is going to be playing all of them. So for me, just getting rid of him and going to Gabriel with money in the bank just makes sense. Yeah,
Darius, what are your thoughts on Gabriel? Just more, we open a discussion up to more generally. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Everton, Newcastle, even your beloved Man United this week for defensive options.
I don't know why anyone would be looking at Newcastle. They haven't kept a clean sheet since game week 7, unless they were listening to Kanji on Saturday night, who basically said that Newcastle, he didn't want to go to Cunha a week early because Newcastle's defense were great. He obviously hasn't bothered to look at Newcastle's games and the fact that the last time they kept a clean sheet was against Nottingham Forest in game week 7. How do I know this? Because I own double Newcastle defense for 6 game weeks, and for 5 of the 6, they kept blanks. So that's how I know they're crap. Then they went to Old Trafford and they played essentially a rabble. They played a rabble on Friday night. This is the United team they versed. They finished versing. Malacia at left back, Heaven, Fredrickson, and Lenny Yoro. If you don't know who half those players are, don't blame you. Neither did I. In the midfield, we had Jack Fletcher, Ugarte, and then I think it was Dorgu and Dallo, and then it was Cunha, and that absolute fraud of a striker that is Joshua Zirkzee up top. Somehow, Newcastle couldn't muster a goal against that crap 11 that finished the game. And that 11 finished the game. They were like that for a good 10 minutes, and Newcastle had nothing. And they literally, in the first half, they were getting torn apart. Lewis Hall was having his ass handed to him on a silver platter as much as Kanji's head is when he comes to talking about Szoboszlai. And essentially, it was like Newcastle were just not options. Eddie Howe's lost the plot. All those good fixtures, Wolves and Burnley, they're not even at home. So they're probably going to lose them. They'll probably concoct a way to lose those fixtures. As for Arsenal defence, they've kept one clean sheet in the last 6 weeks, and I know me and Trig haven't owned any of them for the last few weeks, other than when I was on free hit. And that was the only week where I thought they'd keep a clean sheet, and it is the only week they've kept a clean sheet. And they're not keeping a clean sheet against Aston Villa, who are probably the form team in the Premier League. Then they've got Liverpool in 2 weeks' time, and they've got Bournemouth, who don't defend, but they do attack, and they generally score goals. So why on earth would you invest in Gabriel unless you believe, and a lot of people unfortunately believe the cartel, that a bullet header is coming? It's more likely that Gabriel scores a bullet header into his own net than he does in the opposition net over the next 3 weeks. And that's just a fact.
That's a
so
fact.
There you go, Gary. That's the answer.
I mean, my own opinion, I think Gabriel's a wait. I mean, if I had an absolute luxury, 5 transfers, none to make, I might move Timber to Gabriel. But I disagree with the Newcastle. I mean, surely Burnley, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Wolves, surely Trig, just out of the law of probabilities, there's got to be a couple of clean sheets in there. And someone like Hall, you got the attacking returns as well, haven't you?
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I'm not bothering to get one in, but who have they got? Let's have a look. So I think Burnley will score against them. Palace, they might keep a clean sheet. Leeds, maybe. I think Wolves will score too, to be honest. So,
they did against Liverpool, didn't they?
I'm not bothering. Yeah, they've been scoring against most people, I think. So,
anyone else you want to pick out? Defenders wise, good.
I'm not getting any this week. Yeah, I've got an Everton one. They're pretty good, but again, you're probably better off waiting till next week.
Forest one.
Man United. If you got lots of transfers, go for it. Probably for the next 3 game weeks. Get Dorgu in, playing as a winger. No point getting the other one because he's more long term. Because you're not going to keep whoever you get for more than 3 weeks. You may as well get the one that's going to be for most attacking for the next 3, and that's probably Dorgu. Although if they change formation again, then it won't be. So you just don't know. You just don't know. That's first ever time he's played a back 4, and Dorgu looked fantastic.
It's got to be Dallo. It's got to be Dallo. Why? And I'll tell you why it's Dallo instead of Dorgu.
You hated Dallo.
So Dorgu doesn't take the throw-ins. And Dallo, every time Man United get a throw-in in the last, and it's painful to watch. Being a United fan, it is a shit tactic, and I hate watching it. But yet we do it anyway. So you might as well just back it in and hope for the best. Diego Dallo gets the ball anytime they're within 30 meters of the goal and hurls in the most pathetic long throw that you've ever seen in your life. However, he's now got 3 assists off this pathetic long throw. So as much as it looks absolutely horrendously bad, it somehow is working because idiots like Voltamata headed on to Dorgu, who then just bangs it into the net. He's actually gone close to winning a couple of handball penalties off this stupidly bad throw as well. And if he plays like he did in the second half against Wolves, Dallo's going to bob up with a goal. He's going to somehow end up in that last little attacking third. And he's going to score. And Murat asked in the chat earlier, is Dallo a valid captaincy option? The answer is yes, because Wolves are not going to get a goal. So he's starting at a floor of 6 points, which means that Haaland has to score at least 1 goal to match the Dallo. And if Dallo gets any sort of attacking return, Haaland will need to get 2 goals. So yes, the answer is Dallo is actually a valid, I can't believe I'm saying this, a valid captaincy shout this week. And at the moment, the D unit's captaining him.
Wolves are
Let's do a little poll. Is Dallo a captaincy option? Before we move on, Kanji, is there anyone you wanted to shout out as potential defenders?
You guys mentioned the key ones, like Gabriel is very important, and then Dorgu as well as Lewis Hall. I think the only question is for Gary here. Like, if you're going to buy a Newcastle defender, would you pay a little bit more for Hall, or would you pay a little bit less and go for Shaw?
Well, we'll get on to my team, mate. Sorry, 1 minute, mate. Option. We said he's more expensive than Shaw, isn't he? 0.2 or 0.3?
0.2, yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on my moves, mate, and it will depend on if I go to the people we're about to get onto, Schade or Szoboszlai. Because if I go Schade, I can. So if I go Szoboszlai, I can very easily afford Hall, and I can probably upgrade another defender as well. If I go to Schade, I will be stuck on Chow. I think he's the only one I'll be able to get in. But I'd be happy to get him in because he's more nailed, and he's probably less likely to need moving on in 3 or 4 weeks. But at the same time, I want Hall because he's more exciting, isn't he? Darius, any other defensive fixtures before we move on to my Schade section?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it has been mentioned, and I've covered it. I think I covered it in last week's differentials or whatever. But Vardiol is being seriously underlooked at City. Now, I know that the talk is about O'Reilly and Nunes because they play in the fullback positions and they cost significantly cheaper. I think Nunes is 5.4, O'Reilly's 5.3, and Vardiol's now 5.9. But that dude is an absolute beast in front of set pieces. And again, he got the assist. People talk about Gabriel being the best offensive player off set pieces in the league. It's not. It's actually Vardiol. Vardiol is an unbelievable machine at getting his head to Phil Foden crosses into the box. And he's no joke. I think he's on. I'll need to check it, but I know he's definitely got 2 goals. I think he's already got 3 this season. So the dude is a machine. And people talk about, I've got to own Gabriel because of his offensive threat. If you really want the central defender that puts his head where most heads would not go and scores more goals than any other defender, it probably is actually Vardiol and not Gabriel, believe it or not.
Like John Terry, and he was sticking his head.
There's Brighton as well, a couple of very good fixtures that could be clean sheets there, and people were kind of forgotten about them. They've got the Man City game, but if you've got good coverage on that week, then they've actually got some very good fixtures.
Yeah,
so
good
that's a good differential there for you. And Chalobah for Chelsea's another one, of course, isn't he? Who could be doing well in the next few weeks.
I guess the only thing to wrap up the chat would be how much is one transfer worth to you? Because all of these picks are somebody you're going to want to put Gabriel into their place later on. So
I can answer, but Darius, nothing.
Exactly.
Just do them. Opportunity cost, isn't it? You can sit there and let it pass by, and then you can miss out on a 15-pointer, and then all of a sudden you look like an idiot, and the person that made the move looks like a genius.
All right, let's move on to midfielders, and we're going to talk about these 3 specific midfielders I've got on the slide, and then we'll have a general discussion. So I noticed this yesterday, so I'm thinking Schade or Szoboszlai or maybe Gordon will be one of my chances in this week. Schade, and this is what I've titled the stream, are we overlooking him, right? 7 million, very affordable. This is as of last night when I wrote this slide. Just 1.2% owned, which is why he's my fabulous differential pick from last week. 15 returns last season in 220 minutes, 11 goals, 4 assists. He's had 8 returns this season, which I know is not amazing, but he had a hat-trick last game. Right? Usually when someone scores a hat-trick, lads, everyone buys him, doesn't he, right? He was only the 17th most bought-in player when I checked last night. And, fixtures, Tottenham, Everton, Sunderland, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Villa. Not amazing, but not bad at all. Kanji, I'll come to you with this one, mate. Are we overlooking Schade?
Yes. I don't think anyone owns him that I can't recall anyone that's considered him except for Marku, who's some analytics guy. But realistically, he has a really good fixture with Spurs. But the fixtures, if you kind of zoom out and then you look in the future, there's Arsenal, there's Newcastle coming. You don't really want this differential. If you're going there, you're going to go for 2 or 3 weeks and that's it. And even Everton have been a good defense. Sunderland have been okay defensively. Spurs themselves have been okay defensively under Frank. So I don't really know if I like this differential. The fixture to really buy him for would have been Wolves, Leeds, and Bournemouth. I feel like the best ones are gone.
Yeah, chasing points, Trig, do you reckon?
Possibly. No, I think he's pretty good. I mean, while Dango's away, he's the main man. They're very good at home. So I think they'll do well in those home fixtures. Tough defence at Everton and Villa and probably Chelsea as well. So it's kind of mixed. 7 million, though, he's decent. I mean, I'd rate him higher than Szoboszlai, for example, because at least he does get returns. So, and he's a proper FPL player, not somebody that's just got good stats but never actually does anything like Szoboszlai. So, yeah, no, I don't see anything wrong with him at all, really. I mean, I'm not in the market for him because I've got my midfielders already. But if I was, I'd certainly be looking at him.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it all depends on money for me. So, Darius, not going to ask you because we're going to go on to a slide, something you wanted to discuss. I hear you're a big fan of Szoboszlai, Darius. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's a 4.4% differential that's being promoted by every single content creator other than the D unit because the D unit's got a brain and nobody else does. That's essentially what this slide is about. And look, Trig hit the nail on the head before with the Schade thing. Kevin Schade has history of scoring a hat-trick. He did it last year. It's not like it's something that's not in his repertoire. Is Szoboszlai capable of a hat-trick? The dude's barely capable of scoring more than 2 points, let alone scoring a hat-trick. All you have to do is look at those last 9 weeks. Now, for the benefit of the chat, I was actually kind of kind. I've actually divided the last 9 weeks by 8 because he didn't play in the 9th game.
For people who are listening, can you just say what the stats are, mate?
Yes, yeah. So over the last 9 weeks, including the week just been when you didn't play, he's got 1 attacking return. 1 attacking return in the last 9 weeks. Now, I asked the chat, are you going to invest in a player that is likely to get an attacking return once every 9 game weeks? And if the answer is yes, you might as well delete your team because there is no hope for you. There's absolutely no hope. There's no ifs, buts, maybes. If we extrapolate it to 18 game weeks, which is what we've had 18 game weeks, he's got 2 goals and 1 assist, which the last time I checked Kanji, I have to do my maths correctly here, but that's an attacking return once every 6 weeks. Now, I think I could be wrong about this, but I think I'm probably correct. I reckon I can find 50 other midfielders in the game that have got more attacking returns than Szoboszlai, and I reckon there's about 20 of them that are actually cost less money than £6.6 million. Now, I could be wrong, Kanji, and I'm happy to hear you try and defend it, but based off my research today, I reckon you've got no hope of defending this pick because it's a shit pick, and I just don't see any other way about it. Even if you look at his data from the last 2 seasons, last year you would have to say is probably an outlier where he overperformed his XG and his XA because the first season in the Premier League is probably where he's heading more towards, which means we're probably only going to see a max of another 4 attacking returns over the next 19 weeks for Szoboszlai. So please tell the crowd why he's a good investment.
Yeah, sure.
Before you come in, Kanji is the biggest Liverpool fan in the world. If you're not been watching the last few weeks, and it's only Szoboszlai for a lot of the season, haven't you, mate? Sorry.
Yeah, I've owned him since Aston Villa. I even built my whole chip strategy around owning Szoboszlai, so I'm a big fan. This was before people were considering him because of a review and all that. I actually like the player. So I want to say, first of all, he's been the heart and soul of Liverpool so far this season. He's been very consistent for us. Whenever he plays 90 minutes. That's the first green tick, not only just in the Premier League, but also in the Champions League. He's the teacher's pet. You want to buy a player in FPL that the coach flogs. You want to buy the player that gets the most minutes, that the coach never subs off because you want to be on the pitch for the most amount of time so you have a higher chance of getting a goal or an assist. Green tick. Secondly, he is explosive. He's picked up some returns, but he is not the type of person that's going to pick up a brace like a Schade. He doesn't really have that direct goal threat. He's more of a combo type of player, kind of like a Bukayo Saka, where he gets goals and he gets assists as well. So if he ever gets a double return, it'll probably be a goal and an assist, right? And that's what he's shown in his history. Now, so far this season, Szoboszlai has been underwhelming in the Premier League, but he's been one of the best players in the Champions League. So Szoboszlai has 23 games in the Premier League and the Champions League, picking up 8 XGI. He's actually led to 5 goals and 4 assists in both competitions. Now that, Darius kind of mentioned it, and he's like, oh yeah, Szoboszlai kind of overperformed his XG. That's never going to happen again. Well, he's already done that already this season with 8 XGI and 9 returns. So not only is he a player that gets 90 minutes, He's also a player that overperforms his XGI. That's 2 green ticks to me. Now, the next green tick is that he has set pieces. He has penalty share because Alexander Isak will be the number 1 potential penalty taker. I mean, given his fee, his record in the Premier League, how good of a player he is. He's an elite finisher, but he's now injured. So who's going to be taking the penalties? I mean, Salah's not there. Szoboszlai was the one that took the pen in the Champions League. So you have penalties, you have 90 minutes, you have an XG overperformer. And if you look at his XGI per 90, he's at 0.33 per 90 in the Premier League and in the Champions League. That means that he should be returning once every 3 games. That's basically what he's been doing so far this season, and I expect that trend to continue. Now, what happens sometimes is players return in other competitions. They don't return in the Premier League. We saw Rodgers do that a lot last year, where he returned in the Cups, didn't return in the Prem. But good things will come, and patience, he will repay the patience. I'm very confident in that. And I think Nightmare prepared a slide. I don't know if you have it ready.
He did, mate. Here we go.
This is the trump card. This is D Unit's darling player, his favorite differential in the entire game, Phil Foden. Do you know how many points Phil Foden had before he played Leeds and Fulham? I think he had like 1 return. And guess who Szoboszlai has around the corner? He only has 1 return, but he has Leeds and Fulham coming up. And you know what? I think that there are going to be a lot of managers that don't consider Szoboszlai because they looked at the past. And it's the same thing that's going to happen to Phil Foden. Szoboszlai will return at least once in the next 2 games. And then people are going to be like, wow, we should have got him. He was too cheap. He's on penalties, gets 90 minutes. He's going to get set pieces, direct free kicks, indirect free kicks. He's essential. So I think like you're either going to be the player that's going to be buying him in 2-3 weeks time, or you're going to be the player that's just going to continue to avoid him and think, oh, there's no way this guy does it. But I think elite managers are going to be the ones that own Dominic Szoboszlai, the likes of Bakar, the likes of Ben Krellin, the likes of Kanji FPL. So if you want to be amongst the elite, come join us.
You mean the ones that call elite manager of Bakar FPL review?
What?
Trig, what's your thoughts? So let's bring in someone neutral here. What's your thoughts on Szoboszlai? You're on mute, mate.
Is he on mute still?
So firstly, that's right, Foden and Szoboszlai. Foden is a extra good FPL pick. He has been for years. He's got a history of 200-point seasons. He does it year in, year out. When he's at his best, he's absolutely phenomenal. Show me Szoboszlai's 200-point season, because he has never, ever been a fantasy pick. Did you own him last season? If you did, you'd be one of a few. Everyone was on Salah, even Gakpo. Even this season, people on Gakpo got a lot more points than you got Kanji with Szoboszlai. He's never been an FPL asset. I wouldn't compare him to Saka. That's just insulting to Saka. I would compare him with somebody like Odegaard or Tielemans, not with somebody elite like Saka or Foden. That's just insulting to them. And the only reason people are buying him is because he's at the top of FPL review and the top of Solio. Now, I don't know why. I think penalty share is obviously part of it, but Liverpool just do not get penalties. They do not run into the box and get penalties anymore. I think they've had 1 in like 18 matches. Salah would get them penalties, but he's not even there. And he's on set pieces, but Liverpool are absolutely rubbish at set pieces. This is why Virgil's been such a bad pick, because they're no good at set pieces. No one's converting these set pieces that Szoboszlai supposedly has. He's a worse pick than Wirtz. You called Szoboszlai a darling of slot. Wirtz is slot's new darling, and Wirtz is now forming a great partnership with Ekitike, and there are going to be points on that route. Szoboszlai is probably going to be on the right-hand side where Salah normally is. He's not going to be doing much. I think the other reason that the models like him is because of factoring in these DEFCONs. But they were all from when he was playing as a back, and he's not playing as a back anymore. And the other reason is he's cheap, and people are obsessed with Gabriel. So they're looking at getting Szoboszlai so they can get Gabriel. That's the only reason. And there's also a dearth of other options at the moment. So you know, like Gary's saying, he's looking at Schade. You won't get him. He'll get Szoboszlai because reviewer tell him to. But
Just go and get James Garner.
There are
5 mils.
very few options at the moment. Kudos is one, but he's pretty middling as well. So I think that's the main reason people are going with Szoboszlai.
What about Kirky, Trig? You were singing his praises.
Yeah, excellent. He could be an excellent, more upside than Szoboszlai for sure.
Cheaper
Very
as well,
good
isn't he?
option.
Similar price.
The only danger is the minutes. I mean, Kanji's on about these minutes, but what's the point of a 90-minute player if they're not getting any returns? So, I mean, Szoboszlai might be okay. I might be wrong. You know, Solio review, they might be right. He might be a great pick. Kanji might be right. But he's not the sort of player that interests me because he has no history of being an FPL asset. So I need to see it.
Yeah, can I respond to this?
One
sec, mate. I've ended the poll.
Yeah.
And Gallo is yes, 21% captain option, no 79. And I've asked people if they can let us know if Szoboszlai is a good option, yes, no, or meh. So sorry, Kanji, go ahead, mate.
Just one quick before Kanji responds. This adds on to Kanji's response. Now, he mentioned the Champions League data, and like I know that Nightmare did the comparison. The problem is as what Trig said, Foden's got history of dominating in the Premier League. The dude's got multiple hat-tricks in the Premier League. Again, a bit like Kevin Schade. Szoboszlai's got a history of nothing. And in fact, Szoboszlai reminds me, and I don't know if Kanji will remember him because he's quite a young man and maybe he won't remember him. But there was one Veron, and I'm sure that Trig will remember him. He was an amazing player in the Champions League. Unbelievably elite, came from Italy, he just outperformed in Europe because he was made for European football. And Man United last season actually did pretty well in Europe because it was European football. It's a different level. You're playing shit teams that really wouldn't even be in the Premier League. So it's easy to look better in the Champions League than it is in the Premier League. But Veron was shit in the Premier League to the point where Man United sold him to Chelsea because they knew he was shit. And he went to Chelsea and then Chelsea sold him because he was shit. Szoboszlai is just shit in the Premier League. He might be great in the Champions League, but as Trig said, if you're not winning penalties, and the reason why he's getting promoted by Solio on review because they're stupid and they think that Liverpool's going to win a penalty like they did last year when they got one every 2 games, and this year they're getting one every 18. By all means, but in reality, he's just shit. There's no other ifs, buts, maybes. He's good in the Champions League, shit in the Premier League. I'll leave it to you.
Kanji, I'll bring you in, mate. I want to move on from this debate. So feel free to respond and then give us your thoughts on Cunha, because a few people may be having a bit of second, nerves after that shite performance against Newcastle.
Yeah, I think like comparing Foden and Saka to Szoboszlai is not fair. I mean, those assets are priced at 9 million for a reason. Those assets are proven. They have been getting they've been the star of their team. Like Foden won the Premier League Player of the Season a few years ago. Like there's no doubting their quality. I think with Szoboszlai, he's never really been an FPL pick. If you went there, I think you were a little bit crazy because his minutes were never nailed. He was never like the best player in the team. Like there were always better options to consider, the likes of Diaz, maybe even Darwin, Trent, Robertson, Virgil. Like you would have all picked them over Szoboszlai, really. But this is the first time where you've seen someone that stepped up to the plate. This is the first year I've even considered buying him. Like he's getting nailed minutes. Like this wasn't a thing before. So like what he's done in the past isn't that relevant. I would say that he has returned well enough, but he's not going to be returning at the Foden or Saka level, and he's priced appropriately. So that's the thing. Like you want to factor in the price. Like you got to compare him to Enzo, compare him to Kudus. No, you can't compare him to like Saka and Foden, man.
We've got a few concessions out of you there, Kanji. I think.
Yeah, and you got to be honest.
You admit he has never been an FPL asset. So, but you say things have changed, but you've had him 9 weeks and you've got no returns. So how have things changed?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, it's one goal in I don't know how many weeks. But the thing is with football is this is how it works. Sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes you get a little lucky. You go to Schade, he returns immediately for you with the hat trick. Sometimes you have to get a little lucky. I think Szoboszlai kind of been on the unlucky side of things. He's been creating chances. Liverpool haven't really had a penalty for him. He's been creating chances from all the set pieces. They're not scoring them. But if you believe in Liverpool, and if you look at the fixtures and you think, okay, Liverpool are going to smash Burnley, they're going to smash Bournemouth, they're going to smash Leeds. I think in those games we're going to score 3+ goals, probably like 8 or 9 goals in those 3 games combined. Like I believe that'll happen. So because of that, I want him.
Gents,
yeah.
I want to move on.
I don't think the fixtures aren't that good. They're not that good. Leeds is a good fixture. Fulham are now better. Now Robinson's back. Arsenal away.
Henderson.
That's 3 fixtures. Not that fantastic. They're not.
Trig, what do you think of
Liverpool
Cunha,
aren't
mate?
fantastic either. That's the other thing.
Trig, what do you think of Cunha? Are you keeping him for the next 3?
Yeah, excellent. I was talking a nightmare yesterday. He was disappointed because he brought Cunha in for Newcastle and he blanked. But all players blank. But Cunha's like a legitimate captaincy option this week. I mean, he might blank, but he's had more shots than anyone else in the Premier League except Haaland this season. How many's Szoboszlai had? Right, so he's a good pick. Yeah, he's the number one. If you haven't got him, you just bring him in.
Any other midfielders you want to shout out, lads, before we move on?
Yeah, you could look at Nottingham Forest. They have a couple of nice fixtures there in the next few weeks. You could look at Omari Hutchinson, who looks like a pretty nailed asset. And again, he's actually shown a high ceiling, unlike Szoboszlai, and he's scored over 10 points at least once. In fact, I think he scored 10 points on the weekend, whereas Szoboszlai got a big fat 0. So there's so many different options that you can spend either less money, the same money, or a little bit more, and just be guaranteed you're going to get better returns. So I think as much as Szoboszlai might be a good player, and I'm not here to say that he's not a good player, but in terms of an FPL asset, he's an absolute red herring, and I can't wait for Gary to bring him in this week so we can absolutely savage him on the lock-in Trig, because I could just feel it already. We're going to get there. Gary's going to bring him in, and he's going to get 2 fat big points, and me and Trig are just going to be sitting there going, well, we spent 20 minutes discussing this, and you still followed FPL Review like it's your Bible.
Wow.
I prefer to follow FPL Review than FPLD, you know, I'll say that.
Newcastle assets. There's a few Newcastle players you could buy.
Can I say one thing on Szoboszlai? I honestly just forgot to say. I just want to do it justice. One last point. Whenever he returns, he gets bonus. He's picked up like 1 goal against Arsenal, 13 points. 1 assist against Brentford, 10 points. Just something to consider. Anyways, sorry. Keep going.
Right. I'm trying to think if there's any other midfielders I want to shout out. Too early for Palmer, Trig?
I think it's too early for Palmer. We don't even know if he's up to playing every 3 days yet, do we? There's Newcastle assets, I guess. Some people are going for Gordon, aren't they? Or even Bruno Guimaraes. I mean, is Bruno Guimaraes better than Szoboszlai at the same price? You'd have to ask that question, because he's certainly got a hell of a lot more returns so far.
FPL Nightmare, our resident Newcastle expert. I know I'm a fan, but he's the expert. He told me not to buy Gordon. So if he's saying it, then, you know, was it no open play goal for ages? Yeah. It was like 20, 30 matches or something stupid like that.
Yeah. But Bruno Guimaraes is a option if you like Szoboszlai type picks that has got better record than Szoboszlai, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Better fixtures too. I mean, 4 fixtures there. They're better than Liverpool's fixtures. And you can't say Newcastle are playing much worse than Liverpool, because Liverpool haven't been great, let's be honest. They're clinging on against Wolves, clinging on against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Leeds could beat them this weekend.
The last point I had on this
Calvert-Lewin
we should be buying, perhaps.
Well, if we were going to go for a strike.
DCL unit's on fire, baby. 7 goals in 6 games. The dude's unstoppable. Ever since I visited the voodoo witch doctor with Timu Jesus, we have transferred the D unit scoring ability to the DCL unit, and the dude has not stopped scoring since. He's on fire. There's no stopping him. He's going to sit there. He's going to go to Kanji's team on midweek, and he's going to shit all over Virgil van Dijk's fat ass, and he's probably going to get himself a brace. Like, he's that much on form. Have you watched that Wolves game and the header? Just imagine that same play to DCL unit, man. The dude's he's going to score a hat-trick against that woeful defense you've got back there. Like, he's on fire.
Right, okay. Last point on this slide. Kanji, I'll come to you with this one, right? So obviously me and you both ended up at 10 just with 10 players this week because we didn't. Well, our benches weren't enough to cover. I mean, I did have two playing players on the bench. Do we need for this, tight turnaround, lack of information from press conferences, more like injuries? Do we need more cover on the bench, or were we just unlucky last game? Mate?
We do need more cover on the bench, especially if you buy somebody like Calafiori or Gabriel. I mean, Arteta has said, or at least shown with what his lineups, that he will rotate even the core players. So your player could just miss a game here and there randomly. So it's very important during this December period crunch to have bench depth. The problem is a lot of managers have already gone to Mark Guéhi and Obi or whatever to save money and get more money into the defense and the midfield. So making sure you have at least one good DEFCON defender on the bench, I think, is very important for your structure long term.
Yeah. Do you agree, Trig?
What's the question?
Do we need more? Do we need to have 3 playing players on the bench, basically, outfield players?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Gooey's fine. As long as you've got a couple, you're all right. I mean, some people ran out. I mean, I think you were one, weren't you, that ran out? But, I mean, even if you didn't have Gooey, your worst bench player is likely to only be a 1 or 2 pointer anyway, isn't he? And then you're having to spend more money on the bench, which is going to counteract those points. I mean, he's only going to be used about once a year. Very unusual circumstances this week, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I mean, I just think you can't predict. You can't predict Calafiori getting injured in the warm-up, Timber not being in the squad, Minter, in my case, being bent, Van der Berg not even in the squad. I think, it's panicking to suddenly think that, is an issue. Darius, did you want to come in there, mate?
Yeah, I'm completely in disagreement with the lot of you. I think we've seen from the weekend that Kanji and Gary were left napping because they had shit benches. If you have a player like John Obi, or Obi, I don't even know what his bloody blast name is because he doesn't play. But essentially, you are running the risk.
Obi Mikel, weren't you?
Yeah, I was going, and then I was like, hold on, that's not his name. Whatever his name is, Obi or Gui. These players are not good. You can't rely on them. You are better off. And this is the value of moving early, and you build up your team value, while Kanji and Gary are relying on players that are not going to ever show up for their teams when players happen to have injury warm-ups or get rotated, and there'll be rotation this midweek. And I can guarantee you're going to need your benches again. And I'm looking at Kanji's team, and I'm thinking he's probably going to end up playing with 9 players this week and probably losing more points. But essentially, you are running the risk. And the risk is that your players won't show up. You'll be left with no points coming off the bench. Gary's already fallen victim to it. Kanji's already fallen victim to it. And then we weren't even expecting rotation on the weekend. Now we're expecting rotation, and you guys have a massive problem. You might need to take a -12 to fix it. So you've actually got some points coming onto your field, because at the moment, you're going to be getting none. And whereas the D unit has a full playing bench, blokes that are going to show up, that are reliable, that don't get rotated, that play 90 minutes, and I'm locked and loaded, but I'm ready for it. Bring on the chaos. The D Units team is well equipped for it because, yes, believe it or not, I have moved early more often than you lot have. And I'm probably beating you all in terms of team value by about 2 million, which is a difference between a Mark Guéhi on your bench and almost a Thiago on your bench. That's the difference we're talking about. So later in the season, it will pay off.
You got 2 million on your rank as well, much higher rank than us. It's amazing what you've managed to save up there, Darius.
10 points a week, Gary. It's coming. The hot streak starts now, baby. I just wanted to give you a nice little lead in.
Yeah, Kanji, you asked me to include this on me. Do you want to talk us through this? This is a table from Meerkat, who obviously we had on the show a month or so ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Charlie is one of the best content creators on Twitter, and this is a goals conceded chart from a positional matchup. So, for example, the striker versus Bournemouth has picked up 11 returns, or returned 11 times, which is kind of crazy if you consider that. So, for example, those of you that went for Ekitike as a punt, he has like Leeds, he has Burnley, then he'll have this incredible matchup for Bournemouth on the horizon. And then another thing to consider would be a striker versus Chelsea. So those of us that have Thiago, the Chelsea fixture, we shouldn't be scared of it. The striker has been scoring against Chelsea pretty consistently. So just like this is a really good positional trend to really consider. And just to really plug in something that I think that D-Unit will really like. The right winger has done very well versus Leeds and Fulham. And you know who Liverpool's right wing is? All right, cool.
We don't even know if he's going to start, Kanji. He might have been kicked out of the lineup. Chiesa played pretty well the other day, and Verts played pretty well, and they won the game. So maybe, you know, that was the secret. Szoboszlai not playing.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to say about his table, mate, before we move on?
No, that was all. I think this is good for someone to just come and refer to it.
I think it's very small sample sizes, so I wouldn't take too much store in it, to be honest.
What's it based
Tiny
on?
size, tiny sample sizes.
Is it just based on last game week, or what's it based on?
No, this is
Well,
based on the
season,
season so far. Yeah, the season
Yeah, well,
so
that's
far.
a decent enough sample size.
Well, it's not
Yeah.
many goals, though. I mean, you look at it, and it's like...
Yeah, but it's a total you got to look at in the top right-hand corner, Trig. Wolves have conceded 39, and that's where they've all the different positions they've conceded them from. So
Anthony Gordon should be a good pick because Burnley conceded a lot of goals off penalties, according to that.
And managers change as well, like they react to what's happening. So, like a manager might see that they're conceding a lot down one side, and then they do something about it to change it. And so, yeah, it looks nice. So, I mean, strikers do tend to score the most goals, don't they? So,
yeah, I suppose it makes sense, really, doesn't it? But yeah, do go and if you're on X, do go and check out Meerkat at FPL Meerkat. So let's move on to this week's fixtures, and we'll just pick out anything of interest. So just to briefly go over them, first game is Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Obviously, Chelsea fairly strong favourites there. West Ham, Brighton slight favourites there, but not much in it. Newcastle, Burnley. Newcastle obviously clear favourites there. Forest versus Everton. Forest just slight favourites there. Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Arsenal quite strong favourites there. I'm surprised it's not a bit closer given Villa's form. Man United versus Wolves. Obviously, Man United favourite there. Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Very tight, but Crystal Palace slight favourites. Liverpool versus Leeds. Liverpool obviously favourites there. Brentford, Tottenham. Very, very tight, but Brentford slight favourites. Sunderland versus Man City. Obviously, Sunderland big favourites there. And the top goals predicted this week are in order: Man United top, Man City second, Liverpool third, and Arsenal fourth.
well, no, Chelsea third.
Oh, yes, sorry, mate. Yeah, and Arsenal, whatever. And then clean sheets: Arsenal top, Man United second, Man City third, and Newcastle down in fourth. So, yeah, I mean, Craig, I'll ask you first, mate. I mean, first of all, captaincy thoughts. Any chance to go against Holland?
I'm not going to. I know Man United are predicted to get the most goals, but they're also a very unpredictable team, aren't they? And Wolves haven't been getting battered. So, mind you, either is Sunderland, but Haaland's at least pretty reliable. And I'll just be going Haaland this week. I don't see the need to go elsewhere particularly. And I'm surprised that Liverpool are quite low as they are, like below Chelsea, below Man United and City. So, you know,
Trig.
Leeds haven't been bad, but I think Rodon's probably out, isn't he?
Probably. Say Cunha had got 2 goals against Newcastle. Would that have made you tempted?
Yeah, it might have done. Might have made a difference, I guess. I mean,
I guess it's different. Darius, I mean, you're the Haaland non-captain king. Not any good at it, but you're the king of it. I'm assuming you're not going for Haaland?
I'm just looking at this graphic, and I just sit there and wonder why anyone would actually bother looking at Solio. 0.74 expected goals for Aston Villa. I mean, what planet are they living on? Like, Villa have won 11 games in a row, and they're predicted to score less than a goal. I mean, turn it up. How can anyone actually take this graphic seriously? Like 48% expected clean sheet for Arsenal versus a team that's won 11 games in a row that beat them 2-1 literally 2 weeks ago. Then I look at some of these other ones. Leeds, 0.99 expected goals against Liverpool. I mean, turn it up. Liverpool been conceding over a goal in almost every single week for I don't even know how long. Like, that's just completely ridiculous. Everton scoring a goal? Who's scoring the goal? Like, who is scoring the goal in that team? They literally went to
So I can't
Burnley.
steer your hope.
Yeah, well, they didn't even look like hitting a barn door against Burnley, let alone getting one expected goal against Forest. West Ham, Brighton, I mean, how either of those teams have got anywhere near 20% expected clean sheet, I don't know. Like, these stats every week just make 0 sense. Even Man United, I mean, like, look at that, 42% chance of a clean sheet. We've kept 2 clean sheets in 18 games. Now, the last time I checked, that's under 10%, or it's close to 10%, and we're expected to keep a clean sheet, 42%. I mean, Rob, teammate, do better. Do better. These are just crap. You need to go to the correct betting markets. There's a lot of bets that this is the problem when you rely on betting markets to produce a graphic. How many times are people right at the betting markets? They're often wrong. They're in fact, most of the time, there's a way bigger chance you're wrong than correct. So betting your FPL team on a bunch of odds predicted by a bunch of punters that have got no idea that lose every single week is just the definition of stupidity. And some of these stats this week, no good.
Contract.
Just to stick up for Rob T and his graphics.
Yeah.
Football is a very unpredictable game. So, of course, things don't pan out as you think they're going. If they did, it would be very boring, wouldn't it? If Chelsea did score 2 goals, Newcastle.
No one would ever
But
score more than 3
as
goals.
for Villa, 0.74 points towards between 1 and 0 goals, doesn't it? And I wouldn't put Villa on more than 1 goal. So I don't think it's particularly bad. I put them on between 0 and 1. I'm worried not having any Arsenal defenders this week. Villa have won 11 or 12 on the bounce. They're due to get beat. They're playing Arsenal, who are the best team. So I think it's fair enough. I can't see.
But
them
are they
getting
the
more
best
than
team
1
they
goal.
treat? Aston Villa haven't lost in 11 games. They've won 11 straight in a row. They're definitely the best team in the league as things stand at the moment.
I think all of their wins have been by pretty much 1 goal, haven't they? So,
but they've scored.
It's going to be very tight, I think. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, but I don't think they're going to score more than 1. I might be wrong, but
like, you know what I mean? 48% chance of a clean sheet against a team that's won 11 games in a row. I mean, like, that can't be correct. Like, that is just a stupid stat, an irrelevant stat that can just be completely dismissed. Like, you're literally you're saying there's a 50% chance of a clean sheet against a team that's won 11 on the bounce, which means they've scored in 11 straight games in a row. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that does seem a bit high, 48%.
Let me bring Kanji in. Kanji, what are your thoughts on captaincy this week?
To wrap up the slide, I think what you should do is take 0.25 XG from Everton, put it onto Aston Villa, and I think everything else is really good. So I guess my only question, I think here is, what about Cole Palmer? Because Bournemouth have been conceding lots of XG. All of the best attacks have smashed Bournemouth. Palace scored 3. Or I don't know if Arsenal scored a lot, but Liverpool scored some. I think Liverpool scored 4. Man City scored. I think Haaland had so many big chances in that game. He must have scored at least 2. Man City probably scored 3 in that game as well. So I think Chelsea could definitely batter Bournemouth. I was really surprised when they played in the reverse fixture that it was only like 0-0 or 1-1, something like that. So I'm interested to hear, like, Nick, if you owned Palmer, would you consider captaining him this week? Or do you think the minutes, because it's a midweek, you don't trust it?
I think they're playing Man City at the weekend, aren't they? So I'm not sure. I think they are. I might be wrong. Someone
You're right.
we
can check on the slides. They
are.
Yeah. And I don't even know if Palmer's up to play. He came off after 70 minutes, I think, didn't he? So it possibly going to do the same again this week. But he probably will play, I think. But he won't play the whole match. And if they do start getting lots of goals, he'll be off pretty sharpish, probably, for that Man City game. But yeah, Chelsea are going to rotate quite heavily. I expect Estevao will get a game. Gittins probably will get a game this week. They always rotate. I think Cucurella's could be out because he complained about his hamstring and had to come off the other day. So he'd be a big miss, especially against Man City. But
okay, so rotation risk and minutes risk, so you wouldn't be on Palmer.
Could be good for Semenyo. Could be good for Semenyo if Cucurella's out. So people that are thinking of keeping on to hold of Semenyo for another week. Yeah, too much of a risk. You're not going to bring him in, are you, at that price?
Right.
For
And then
Bournemouth match
the risk with Cunha captaincy is like Man United are just not trustworthy. Like their best players are not available. Bumo's not there. Alma's not there. Bruno's not there. Like it's a little bit risky to captain in this, especially if we're taking on Holland. Leeds just put up 2 open play XG versus Sunderland away at Sunderland's home ground. So why can't Man City do the same thing, right?
Yeah, a good question here from Paul. Will there be concern with City rotation?
Yeah, I'm worried about it. I'm worried this week. I'm worried about O'Reilly. I'm worried about Foden. I think Haaland's safe, isn't he? But
yeah, it should be.
Sunderland knows it's not an easy fixture, is it? So maybe there won't be rotation. But they've got Chelsea at the weekend, so there could well be.
So I've ended that poll. We've got it's actually fairly tight. Is Szoboszlai a good option? No, 41%. I'll do a captaincy after this. No, 41%. Meh, 32%. Yes, 27%. So it seems like the community's fairly split on this, would you say, Trig?
Well, no, but only 20% think he's a good pick. So we're not really split.
Only 41 think he's not. It's not.
No, the other ones think he's meh, don't they? The other ones think he's...
Yeah, but that's sort of okay.
70% are giving a negative opinion and only 25% are giving a positive opinion on him.
Who heard saying how many times the Kanji?
I mean, and you'd have to ask that 25% why they like him. Do you know what I mean? Why do they like him? Yeah, you've got to think the only reason is because they follow the models. Because
Kanji's burner accounts.
If he wasn't high up in the models, would anyone be talking about him? Seriously, would anyone be talking about? Like you look at FPL Andy, Pricey, all of them are talking about him this week, but they all follow the models. So if he wasn't high up on the models, they wouldn't be talking about him. So other people wouldn't even be considering buying him.
No. So I'm going to do a poll. Who's the best captain this week? Who should we put in, lads? Haaland, Cunha,
Dallo.
Yeah. Oh, relax. Yeah, relax.
21% said he was a good captaincy option before. Obviously, a lot of people are thinking about it.
Let's do for a laugh, Dallo or I'm just going to put Slob.
I just put Dallo or Cunha.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Do let us know who's the best captain: Haaland, Cunha, Dallo, or Szoboszlai. All right. Let's move on to our Pubcast differentials. So if you've not watched the stream before, we all pick a player under 5% owned each week, and we'll see how we get on with the points. So I think Darius has messed up the order of this week because I believe I'm ahead with 46 points after my amazing Schade call on his 20-pointer. Second would be overall. Would be Darius himself, although his call of Kanate only got him 2 points. Then Nightmare Gordon only got him 2 points. Trig, although Trig had a very good game week with Keane with 10 points, and then Kanji with 28 with a Frimpong 5-pointer. And then Roberto, bottom of the overall list, but he had a very good pick last, didn't he, with Odegaard there, with a 10-pointer. But let's move more interestingly to our picks this week. So I'll ask you guys to all justify your picks, and then we'll have a quick word on Andrew and Roberto. Obviously aren't here. We can see here much favoured Newcastle. We've got 3 Newcastle players on the top. So I'll just say I went Schade again. How could I not? After I was the last pick this week because Darius mixes the picks up. He got me a hat trick last week. He's at home to Spurs. How could I not go for him again after these 5 Egypts didn't pick him? But Craig, I'll come to you, mate. You've gone for Gordon away to Burnley. He seems to be picked 4.2%. Someone seems to pick him every week, pretty much. You're on mute, Craig. And you're still on mute. I'll come back to you, Trig, when you're unmuted. Darius, do you want to...
Is he still under 5% owned?
He might not be, but it doesn't matter. It's when we pick him. 4.2% when you picked him.
Yeah, Gordon. I mean, I'm not sure about Gordon. People are saying it's great because he played 90 minutes the other day, but that could just mean he's going to be rested in midweek, couldn't it? So, but if he plays, I think he's a good pick this week, but we shall see. But yeah, I should have probably stuck with a defender. I mean, Keane worked out very well for me last week, didn't he?
We saw it earlier at Mir. We saw it at Meerkat Stable. They conceded a lot of penalties, Burnley, didn't they? So that's,
are we sure that Gordon's on them?
I assume so.
If he's on the field.
Darius, I mean, you put these tables together for us, and obviously, I mean, I think this is the first time you've been on since we've started including these in the podcast. So please do discuss us through your pick, who is your man Diego Dallo, who you're suddenly fallen in love with.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly talk about Nightmares and Roberto's one. So, look,
I'm just going to quickly pop to powder my nose while you do that.
Yeah, no, all good. So I was looking at, I think Trig might get lucky this week because Hall has been going on essentially a blank and then a 10-pointer on rotation the last 4 weeks. So he's due, in theory, if it follows the pattern, to get a 10-pointer this week. But looking at Hall, there's not really much to base this pick on because, as I've said before, Newcastle have not kept a clean sheet since game week 7. So I think Nightmare's basing it on the fact that Hall's going to get an attacking return because you can't be basing it on keeping a clean sheet because they didn't keep a clean sheet against Burnley at home. So I don't quite understand the Hall pick. He would have been better off going with like Dorgo or something like that who was lower owned. In terms of Jacob Murphy, he is someone that started on the weekend and I reckon he 100% starts on the bench. I'd actually be shocked if he starts. So as much as I love Roberto and I love his pick, I just don't see that one paying off at all. Now I'm going to get onto mine. So I've obviously gone with the GOAT. I've gone with the Nuno Mendes of fullbacks at Manchester United. I've gone with the weapon that is the Diego Dallo long throw. He's got 1 goal and 5 assists this season from 13 starts. So he's literally averaging, can you believe this, Kanji? When you look at Szoboszlai, who's averaging an attacking return once every 6 games, we're looking at Diego Dallo, who averages an attacking return 1 in every 2. So, I mean, when you look at that and the potential for what should be a banker clean sheet against Wolves, we could be looking potentially at a 15-pointer at minimum, potentially rising to 20 points. Because he was very close to a 20-pointer against Newcastle. If he just finished that shot, he actually would have got a 20-pointer against Newcastle with the goal and the assist. There's nothing to believe that he can't do it this week. He's by far and away the best defender to buy this week in the game, period. There is no better defender to buy. He's not on 4 yellow cards, so he can get booked against Wolves and he'll still be playing in game week 20 against Leeds. Whereas Dorgu, a lot of people argue that maybe he's better because he's playing further forward. He's still on 4 yellow cards, which means he could end up missing Leeds if he does get booked this week. Dallo's also a longer-term option because he's in, well, Amron's either in love of him, related to him, whatever it is. He's given him the captain's armband. He's literally the Bruno Fernandes of Man United at the moment. That is Diego Dallo. And there's no way after that wrap-up that he's not going to sit there and win the battle this week. Over to you, Coach.
Yeah, that's a really solid pick. I remember last year I went into free hit when Man United played Leicester and I had Dalot on my free hit and he got the clean sheet and the assist. So good memories from points from him. That's a great pick. But of course, Kanji has selected Dominic Szoboszlai. Need I say more? I think we can move on.
And also, can we just say, because Gary's still powdering his nose, how lazy Gary is. He does not actually pick any players. He literally just looks at review, looks at the player that's near the top, doesn't he, Trig? And he's that lazy. He doesn't even bother to, he just, every week he's gone to Schade when someone hasn't had him. Like, if we just run this poll every single week, it would have been Kevin Schade. And eventually at some point you are going to get lucky. And he got lucky this week. The dude does no research, has no input, and everyone else takes it seriously. And Gary just takes the piss and just pulls out Schade every single week.
I think Dallo's making me want to buy him. You're making me want to buy him, Darius. That's a worry.
Well, he's better than Virgil van Dijk. You said it before, Trig. I mean, Virgil's... I said to people on videos for a while, The most chance of a Virgil van Dijk bullet header is into his own net rather than the opposition net. Like that is just factually what's more likely to happen at this moment in time than the other, I believe. And people are just hanging on to the belief that it's going to happen, but he's just doesn't score many goals. He's not. He's
Might
not,
be
I
my
know that
last-
people think that he will, but he
Might be
won't.
my last game with him this week, I think.
I like it.
sell him
Lads,
before
where are we
he
up
leaves,
to?
but,
Just
I've
how
finished
good your
those.
picks are, Gary.
So,
How creative they are.
okay. Has Kanji discussed this pick yet? Oh, God.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Szoboszlai again.
No, we've done
no,
that.
no, we've done enough.
If you want to know why Kanji goes Szoboszlai, maybe go wind back a bit. All right, I think we've gone through them. If you've commented on Hall and Murphy, can we move on to our teams the next game week, lads?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I can't remember what order I've got them in for this week. All right. First is Kanji. So Kanji's got 1 free transfer, 1.3 in the bank. He's currently starting Ray against Villa, Keane away to Forest, Calafiore at home to Villa, O'Reilly at Sunderland, Szoboszlai at Leeds, Cunha at home to Wolves, Saka at home to Villa, Foden away to Sunderland, Wirtz at home to Leeds, Thiago. I forgot you didn't have a Ekateke. At home to Thiago, at home to Spurs, and Haaland Cap versus Sunderland. Yeah, so talk through it, mate, and what you're planning.
Yeah. So the reason I didn't go to Ekatike is like I want to eventually bench Thiago and I want to move to a 4-5-1 and then get Thiago back into my team once like the poor fixtures for Brentford are past. So that's why I didn't do it. Just so you know.
You're looking pretty weak on the bench again.
Yes, exactly. So one thing to consider is Calafiore may not start. Keane missed the last midweek. Igor Thiago missed the last midweek. So I'm probably going to be down to 8 players with the way my season's been going recently. But realistically, I expect everyone to start except for Calafiore. So Calafiore is the definite transfer out with 1.3 in the bank. I considered Delo. I considered Dorgu. I considered Hall. I think those are all great short-term moves, but I only have 1 free transfer. I need to consider long-term. And I want Gabriel, so he's in.
But he might not start.
Well, it depends how you look at it. I've looked at the fixture spacing. I've looked at the UCL games and their lack thereof of the knockout stage, and I really believe in Gabriel's minutes. And I believe in him being the best FPL pick in the game, period. So I'm going for him.
I don't disagree with that when he's
injury,
fit.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know yet he's 100%. I mean, Arteta himself said he'd rushed him back. So, I mean, he obviously wants to play him for this match.
I hope he does his fire just to kill all these sheep in their tracks, Trig. That would be absolutely biblical, wouldn't it?
Wait. So, Dion, let me ask you this question, right? So, you've been hating on Liverpool, right? That you're like, oh, Liverpool, they just suck at conceding. They suck at keeping, clean sheets because you know why? We concede from set pieces. We are the worst set piece defending team in the league. So, surely you're going to want Gabriel when Liverpool play Arsenal.
Also, bit on that. You're right, Kanji. You're right.
Yeah,
that's the buying point against your team because they're shit defensively.
I agree. And to add on to that, the Liverpool-Arsenal game was such a boring game. It should have ended 0-0 with the way it was played in the first half of the season. So it makes sense to own defenders from that fixture, in my opinion. But that's not what models will tell you.
I suppose you could go to someone like Tarkowski, but then you're just going to have to go to Gabriel later, and there's going to be 2 transfers, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. I know Gabriel's the GOAT. I want him. I'm in.
Sorry, Craig,
evidence fixtures long term are really good. If you're buying Tarkowski, he's probably going to get more points than Gabriel over the next 8 weeks. Like the fixtures for Everton are no joke. They're going to keep a lot of clean sheets over that run, I would suggest, because that's just what David Moyes and Everton do. So when I look at Arsenal's fixtures, outside of Liverpool, do I really see a clean sheet in the next 5 weeks? Probably not.
Craig, were you going to say something, mate?
No, just about his bench, really. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not that sure O'Reilly and Foden are going to play. And right, you said Keane missed last. How old's Keane? He's getting on a bit, isn't he? Can he play 3 games in a week?
Nah, he's young, Trig. He's only 28, 29. He's not
Oh, is
old.
he?
Yeah.
The rest of them should turn out. Oh, Thiago could be benched. Thiago might
Thiago
not
could
play. He normally doesn't play midweeks. I think I'm benched. Oh, we'll look at my team in a minute. But
You're gonna have 6 players at this rate, can't you?
Yeah, no, I love, but this is how it is. When it's someone else's team, it's very easy to point out the flaws. I mean, I see them myself, but
well,
I think they'll all start.
I mean, Richards won't, and Calafiori was injured. Like it was only 2 days ago. So why do you think he's going to be fit?
Why is he not yellow flagged?
No, I think Richards is out. Like I think until the new year, I don't expect him to play. I just want to keep Richards and Anderson longer term. I think they rotate very well, and they're really cheap assets. They play 90, they're nailed. So
Yeah, why isn't Calafiori flagged?
He is, I think, in the main game. Is that just a screenshot you took?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure he is in the main game. I'm sure he is in the main game. All right, let's.
Yeah,
You're
really
going to
fine.
take him out for Gabriella. You take out Calafiori.
yeah. Gabriel is him, boys. You're all gonna own him eventually.
I'm just going to say, I think
Really?
that's risky. You're already potentially down to, if all those players get rested and you're bringing in someone who's not secure to start. I understand.
Gabriel is starting. He's starting. I'll bet my life on that. Trust.
Let's move on to.
I agree with
team.
Kanji. I reckon he starts, but I wouldn't be convinced. I feel like Arteta's rushed him back because he's got so many issues. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks down again in the next couple of games with another injury because Arteta's cooked him.
That's the risk, isn't it? That's the risk. So I am 3 free transfers in the bank, 0.1. I've got Kelleher at home to Spurs, Lequara at home to Fulham. Excuse me. Timber obviously flagged at home to Villa. Anderson away at Crystal Palace. Vandenberg, again, yellow flagged at home to Spurs. Minter away to West Ham. Cunha at home to Wolves. Foden and Haaland, who's my captain, away to Sunderland. Saka at home to Villa. Etateke at home to Leeds. And similar to Kanji, I'm pretty short on the bench with Semenyo away to Chelsea, and then Richards, who's obviously flagged, and Gui doesn't play. So I'm a bit pissed off, to be honest, because I was in such a good position, a few weeks ago with 5 free transfers and all this, and then last game week has just taken me out of it with Vandenberg and Timber being yellow flagged. So my moves are going to be probably Richards out. I've got to sort out the bench, and probably, well, it all depends, right? So first of all, Semenyo's going to come out to either Gordon, although I doubt that because I don't think I can afford it, Schade or Szoboszlai, however you say his name. And then depending on how much I save there, either Richards to Hall, if I can afford it. If I can't, probably to Chow. And then possibly a third transfer of, I don't even know, maybe Lequara to an Everton defender or another defensive change, basically Vandenberg to someone like that. Trig, always come to you first on my team, mate. What do you reckon? What do you reckon to those moves? I mean, things I do want to keep one in the bank. You know what I mean? Free transfer. I
don't like your midfield structure. You've got 5 relatively expensive midfielders in there. There's a lot of waste because you have to bench one every week. So like you're benching 7.5 million this week. And if you take him out, but who do you bench? If you take out Semenyo, who are you going to bench? If you were talking about bringing in who?
Well, I'd much prefer that, mate. And currently, I could only have 8 players. You know what I mean?
Actually,
Semenyo and Richards.
No,
they're just benched because I'm going to sell them probably.
I forgot you had Gui there, so you can play more, can't you?
I do feel playing catch up though.
Let me see what you should do. Get rid of Richards because you don't want 2 Palace defenders because and that's not good enough to have 2. And it makes sense to take Richards out because he's the one who's injured. And if you've got enough money, maybe go with a Newcastle defender or a Man United defender, possibly. Vandenberg will probably be back. Timber will play. You could keep Semenyo another week. You could play. Why are you benching Semenyo anyway? Why aren't you playing Semenyo and benching
I'm planning
Van
to
der
sell him.
Beek?
Because I can't. I've only got 1 point in 0.1 in the bank. So the only way I can upgrade those defenders, the defenders I actually want, is to downgrade Semenyo to at least Schade, probably Szoboszlai or Szoboszlai.
Yeah, let's be realistic. You're going to bring in Szoboszlai. So
yeah,
Semenyo to
give
him.
me money to get, which will give me some money to pump up at least one, maybe two defenders.
Put Van der Beek on your bench, and then change Richards to somebody.
Yeah, I do. I want to keep 1 free transfer because I will want to move Timber to Gabriel at one stage, and I will want to move Saka to Palmer.
Just use 2.
Wait, so can I address that? Like, now that you mentioned, that's a really key question. I think other people are going to consider. Like, if you have Timber, right? There's news that apparently he was rested as a precaution, that he should be starting the next game. I also believe that to be true. So let's assume that Timber is fine. He plays Aston Villa, right? Now, moving forward, if you want to get onto double Arsenal defense, isn't the best 3 going to be like Gabriel plus Timber and then having Saka? Like, are you, because you have gone for a cheap goalie. So, like, your advantage of a cheap goalie is they're going to have double premium defenders, right? So, like, your advantage would be Timber plus Gabriel. You get they're the most expensive, but you get the best path to minutes and the best path to upside, right? So, I don't know if you should do Timber to Gabriel, right? Like, I was thinking about your team, like, Semenyo to Szoboszlai gives you money to upgrade Van den Berg to Gabriel. Or Chalobah, or Reece James, or whoever you'd want, right?
Yeah, but Gabriel, I'm not desperate to get him in. I agree with Darius and Trig. He's not essential now. 2 or 3 game weeks, maybe, but that's a luxury move to me. Particularly when I don't even have full confidence he's going to start.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, no worries.
Darius, you got any word on my team? I'm sure you do. Before we move on to the next one.
Someone said it in the comments, but the good news is, Gary, there's an extra wild card from game week 20. So I'd just roll this week and I'd fix your entire team next week because there's issues galore. Look at
Darius is back on the podcast when he tells me the wild card every week.
Look at that bench. You've got Richards not going to show up until the new year. You've got Mark Guiui not going to show up like we've seen and I've been preaching for the last 6 weeks. Shit pick. Then you've obviously look at your defense and look at the defense, man. Look at that defense. You've got Van den Berg, who, let's be fair, if he's not at home, he's shit. If you've got Lacroix, Palace are completely cooked. They're not keeping a clean sheet anytime soon. Trig knows this as well. He needs to go. He's cooked. Then we've got Timber. I mean, he decides when he's going to have a sore leg. Maybe he wants to have New Year's off, so you don't know if he's going to show up. Then you've got the GOAT. You've got the Anderson GOAT. I mean, at least you played him on field this week, but all the good fixtures for Fulham have run out. And I think the clean sheets are going to run out as well. In fact, someone suggested the best move for Gary's team this week is to sell Anderson to Diego Dallo. And I would actually agree with that statement because Dallo is going to come into a nice run of fixtures. You've had Anderson's 1 clean sheet on your field, ride it to the hills and bail out. Then you look at that midfield. Saka, overpriced. You really should just sell him for Rice, free up some money. Then you can move Semenyo to someone else. I don't know. Your team's just... It's a basket case. And somehow you've had 5 free transfers for the last how many weeks, and it looks like this. Whereas the D unit used them, and his team looks so much better. And yes, I gave you 4 points this week by taking a -12. But I tell you what, we're going to be gaining at least 20 points on your team this week because your team looks like
we're talking about my team.
On life support, and the D unit's team's been boosted with a shot of adrenaline, and
right, I'm going to mute him for a minute because he's getting on my nerves. Right, let's move on to Trig's team. Trig, I'll keep him on mute a minute. You know, he does. He's trying to make it all about him, ladies and gentlemen.
On your team, I think you could do Richards to Dallo. Actually, would be a good move, and play Semenyo instead of Van der Beek. I think Semenyo could do well against Chelsea, especially if Cucurella's out.
All right, let's move on to Trig's team. Trig is on 2 free transfers, 0.5 in the bank. He's got Sanchez at home to Bournemouth, O'Reilly away to Sunderland, Virgil at home to Leeds, Lacroix at home to Fulham, Elliot Anderson at home to Everton, Wirtz at home to Leeds, Foden away to Sunderland, Saka at home to Aston Villa, Cunha at home to Wolves, Haaland capped captain away to Sunderland, and Thiago at home to Tottenham. Yeah, talk us through it, mate. I'll unmute Darius. I've put him on the naughty bench.
I'm saving my transfer, and I would actually be happy if someone didn't turn up this week because I've got no idea who to bench. We'll show that other slide in a moment.
Do you want me to show it? Yeah.
Not just yet.
Okay,
So I'm going to save because I'm quite happy with all my midfield. Anderson could do well this week at home to Everton, so I'm going to start him. Defensively, I will start Lacroix. Well, I've got Anderson, Tarkowski, and Lacroix. So we'll go and have a look at that other sheet to see who I should be starting because it's very difficult to know this week. So this is one of Tom Hadley's that he put up. It's really good. So it kind of shows all the percentage chance of DEFCONs with the clean sheets as well beside it. So you can kind of get a look. You can see there Anderson. Like I've got to decide whether I start Anderson or Tarkowski. And Anderson's got slightly higher chance of DEFCON. But you can see that Tarkowski's very, very slightly has a slightly better chance of a clean sheet than Anderson does, but there's only 2% in it. And just don't know which one to start. There's basically nothing in it. And I hate those 50-50 decisions because I always get them wrong. And we got Lacroix there, 50% DEFCON for Lacroix with a 33% chance of a clean sheet. So there's not a huge amount in any of them, really, is there? So if you look at this list, then who's the best one to buy for you this week, Gary? Let's see. According to this, Chalobah looks really good, doesn't he? Because 36% chance of a clean sheet, 71% chance of DEFCONs, and he's also very attacking, isn't he? And they're playing Bournemouth, so he could. They're going to get a lot of corners probably against Bournemouth.
How many goals has he got this season?
Very good pick. He's got a few, and I don't know how many.
Yeah.
I think most of them were early in the season, but I think he did get one recently.
3 goals.
3 goals.
3 goals
yeah. And he's always there on the corners, flicking it on. So he's a very good pick because I know they've got City next week. But if you've got other defenders you can play, because their fixtures get really good shortly. So he's a decent option for you. Who else have we got here? There's the Forest defenders starting to come into play as well. You've got Milenkovic, 38% chance of a clean sheet, 64% chance of DEFCONs, and he's quite attacking as well. Yeah, so I really like this chart. I really like this chart though, because it kind of shows you the options, doesn't it? And ones you might not have looked at. For example, I hadn't considered Milenkovic, but you look at this and you think he looks decent because just taking clean sheet odds alone isn't really. You've got to consider DEFCONs as well, haven't you? We were like 55%.
Do you know it'd be good if they had a summary bit as a third column, which sort of like showed a reflection of both of them added together? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like a rating or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but
yeah.
You want me to go back to the team, mate?
Murillo looks deep. Yeah, go back to the team if you want. But I've got 2 free transfers, and I want to get back up to 3 or 4 because at some stage I will want Gabriel, and I want to take Wirtz out in a few weeks probably, and Cunha. Cunha's got 3 weeks left, and then he has to go because their fixtures get shocking. So I'd rather save up transfers. I'd rather get to that stage with 4 transfers when Chelsea's fixtures swing as well and be able to attack it. So I'll be saving. Who would I buy? Who would I buy here this week? Kanji, who would I buy?
Are you talking about your defense?
Anybody. Who would I buy this week that's worth spending a transfer on to make my team significantly better than it is now?
There's no one. There's nothing.
There's no one, is there? No. Yeah. I'm better saving. I mean,
If Anderson gets 4, you're gonna have a really good week, honestly.
Solio wants me to take out Wirtz and bring in Szoboszlai, and that's not happening. That's just absolutely. So
No.
I'm actually thinking of benching Thiago this week. I'm playing playing Tarkowski or Anderson instead of Thiago, but I probably will start Thiago.
What's your plan for Arsenal defense?
I'll wait and see. Their fixtures are crap. They're not keeping that many clean sheets, and I quite like not having any as a differential. But as soon as my defence looks rubbish, I will get Gabriel in.
I mean, Virgil to Gabriel is on the cards, right? Eventually.
Yeah, quite possibly. Or O'Reilly to Gabriel maybe in a few weeks. See,
You don't trust O'Reilly's minutes.
He's starting to annoy me a bit. I mean, like the unit said, he's no Guardiola, is he? So
I've got to admit, I'm a bit jealous. You know, you said all season I've had luck with the injuries, and I think our fortunes have reversed. You know what I mean? You're in the the ascendancy.
You have Tarkowski. Holy, you have Tarkowski on the bench. That's insane. Your team looks.
You had everything perfect, didn't you?
He's playing the wrong players. I'd be benching Virgil van Dijk. No chance of a clean sheet. Tarkowski's got way more chance of a clean sheet. He does. Actually, he does. Like, look at the stats.
It's not factually at all. Look at the other table. Look at the other
Tarkowski,
table again.
Yeah, but the other table's based on crap, Trig. You've got to take actual facts in. So Tarkowski's kept clean sheets against Nottingham. Sorry, hold on. I'm just pulling up the stats so I can actually tell you what's actually happened over the last few weeks. Tarkowski, the last few weeks, has kept a clean sheet against Burnley, kept a clean sheet against Forest in 15, kept a clean sheet against Bournemouth in 14. So that's 3 in the last 5 weeks. Virgil van Dijk has kept... he's kept 1 clean sheet. No, he hasn't. Hold on. Yes, 1 against Brighton in the last 5 weeks. I know who I'm betting on, and it's not Virgil van Dijk.
I agree with you, kind of, but there's no way I'm benching him before Leeds at home.
No.
Or you could do the ultimate play, Trig, and use a transfer, sell Virgil van Dijk, and bring in the GOAT that is Diogo Dalot and reap the benefits. That in itself, that transfer could be worth 10 points. Like,
it will also ruin my options later on, and it'll be a
you won't want a third Man United player
3 weeks' time.
But you won't want a third Man United player. It's not going to hurt your options.
Trig, is there anything else you want to say before we move on to Darius's team so he can sing Dello's praises even more, mate?
No, I was just hoping someone was going to tell me where I've gone wrong, but they have, but not in a sensible way.
Not in a sensible way, yeah. So here's
also, if you sold Virgil for Dalot, you would then have the money to buy Ekitike for Thiago, and that'd be a really good transfer to spend.
Yeah, I do. I don't think it even would give me the money, to be honest.
It's close.
Ekitike is about 9 million now. Ekitike is a lot of money for me. I just can't get him.
Yeah, I think you burnt that bridge last week, didn't you, Trig?
Unless Saka gets injured or something, then I can get him. But otherwise, no.
So let's move on to D Unit's team. Obviously, in his specific graphic, you've got Sanchez at home to Bournemouth. So this is your. Have you made these moves yet?
Yeah, Darren? I've done. Dalot's in. Okay. Dalot's in, right. And he's the captain. We are going to roll in. We're going to roll in those Highland sheep, and I'm going to ride them in. The D Unit's now seeing the I've actually got 3 good captains in a row, so I feel like my luck in terms of captaincy, I'm starting to see it a bit better, and I'm backing it in. I'm going all in on the Diogo Dalot.
Darius, can I read it out? Can I read it out?
Oh, yeah, I'll read it out for one. Oh, you want to read it out? Yeah.
No, you go for it. You go for it.
Okay, so I've got Sanchez and Chalobah in goal. In the double Chelsea defense. It makes. I did weigh up whether to play either Tarkowski or Chalobah or O'Reilly, and I feel like that's my biggest conundrum at the moment. I don't think Pep rotates. We haven't seen him rotate at all this year, and I don't think he'll rotate against Sunderland. Sunderland not an easy team away from home, and I think he'll play the normal players. He might get subbed off a little bit earlier, which will hopefully benefit him. But I think that he'll start. So I've got no issues there. So Tarkowski starts on the bench. Dallow's in for Van den Berg. That's who's left the team. So that was a nice, easy transfer. Made 0.1 million in the bank for it as well. And then Dallow rose just as I bought him in, which was nice as well. Then in the midfield, we're looking pretty good. We've got Cunha, obviously, against Wolves at home. Foden against Sunderland away. Rice with Aston Villa at home. Now, I did think about benching Rice for Wilson because, you know, in theory, Wilson could be better against that Palace team. But Rice is literally returning every single week. It doesn't matter what he's doing. He's either getting DC, bonus, assists, goals. He literally is ticking over every week. So it's very hard to bench him. Then we've got Wirtz with Leeds at home. That also, he's in form. So I'm very happy to have him. Then it's Haaland against Sunderland away. Ekitike with Leeds at home. And then Bowen is going to repay my faith in him. Otherwise, he's back on the chopping block because the DCL unit is talking to me on the phone going, oi, I'm scoring goals for fun. If you're getting that fraud Bowen in and he's doing nothing, I'm not happy. So if Bowen doesn't perform the next couple of weeks, the DCL unit is coming in, boys, and I can't wait to bring him in. So hopefully the team pops. Diego Dallo captain. D unit's going to make up about 30 points on Gary's team that's literally falling apart at the seams, and we're ready to go.
Are you sure about double Chelsea defense when you could play like Tarkowski or a Brighton defender there?
Nah, I'm happy to go all in.
You got what 2.1 in the bank? Is there any hits planned?
Yeah, well, so I'm probably going to move. So I could either move Mukiele to Gabriel in a couple of weeks because obviously I've got the money to do it. I don't know what I'm going to do with the 2.1, but I know that essentially any move that I like the look of, I can pretty much go and do because I've got the money in the bank for it.
No hits is the question.
No hits this week. No need for a hit this week. I mean, look at the team, Gary. It's going to shit on yours this week. It might have lost out by 4 points last week, but this week I can tell you who's winning this week. When it comes to the review, the next pubcast thing, we're going to look at the teams, and yours is going to be at the bottom of the pile, and the D units is going to be at the top of the pile, baby.
There's a reason they call him the delusional unit, ladies and gentlemen.
With your team value is unbelievable. I think with a team value like that, you might be able to afford something like Saka, Foden, Bruno, Palmer, Haaland. But you've gone with all of these other like 8.0 mids, but like you could, I mean, you don't have that many transfers to consolidate everything, so never mind. I guess my idea is not going to make sense.
Nah, it comes down to when the next wild card is, Kanji. So my plan always, and it worked last year, it worked beautifully, and hopefully it works again this year. Build the team value for the first half of the season. You get to the second wild card, and when the peasants are picking up the likes of GUI, the D unit's picking up the cream of the crop at the top. So yeah, there is a plan, and that's obviously why I do value team value a lot more than most managers in the content creator space. But it does pay off. And last year, I mean, unfortunately, it would have paid off last year if Haaland had actually come back in form. Unfortunately, he came back and he wasn't in form. Otherwise, I think I might have well finished inside the top 1,000. But unfortunately, I spent up all my money, got Haaland in, and he literally did nothing the last 5 weeks.
You had a good finish last year in spite of your chip strategy. And that's not an insult because you did well.
I don't use chips well, Gary. I haven't used them well this year. I hate the chips. I'm better without them. Every week I play a chip, I get a red arrow. So they're no good.
No. Apart from assistant manager, you do like an assistant manager, don't you?
Only
Trig,
jokes know how to use that chip.
Any thoughts on Darius' team, Trig?
Oh, you're on mute, bro.
You're on mute again. I don't know what's going on with his mic today.
All good. He'll come back.
Any thoughts yourself, Kanji?
I think his team is unreal. Like the squad value is so strong. Like you can cook with this on a wild card so well.
Yeah. When are you planning to wild card, Darius? You can hold it to like 30, like most people.
See, like my plan is actually to bench boost quite soon after game week 20. I've actively been planning. Like lots of people sitting there going, "What the hell is this idiot doing?"
That's why you're putting so much money on your bench.
But I am literally looking for and I know that people sit there, and I've had the discussion about bench boost in double game weeks. Like most double game, and I had this argument with you, Gary. Like no one's picking 15 players that are going to double in a game week in any. I don't think it's happened since they had the COVID years, where obviously there were all those fixtures rammed in and there was a chance to bench boost with 15 players that all had double
There were-
fixtures.
There were
It's not
before
gonna happen.
COVID, but there's supposed to be less big
Yeah,
double
less
game
doubles and
in
blanks.
the Cup, isn't
Yeah.
there? Yeah,
Yeah.
so you're probably right. Yeah.
Darius,
So, like-
you just said you're useless with your chips, and
Yeah.
now you're coming up with a differential chip strategy that's going to make you useless with your chips. Like you just
I'd
use them in
rather-
a
I'd
double
rather get
game
it
week
over
like
and done with,
everybody
Trig.
else.
I'd rather get
Why
the
try and
bench
be
boost out of the
different if
way.
it's not working? Just do what everyone else does and play them in a double game week. And yeah, sorry I was on mute. The cat keeps playing with my blooming cable. And
Don't blame the cat.
really good team. I really like your team this week. And if you don't get a green arrow, there's something wrong because there's such good high upside picks in there. But you should do really well. You know, someone like Saka could hurt you, mate. There's not many players that can hurt you this week, I think.
I've got the three. So I know
Yeah.
that Trig always talks about risk mitigation. So like the risk mitigation is I own Haaland, I own Foden, and I own Ekitike, and everyone else I'm happy to take on.
And you're going to ruin it with your captain choice. Actually, you might not. 'Cause I'm not that high on Haaland this week. I would not be surprised if Haaland blanks. I mean, I'm going to captain him, but I'm not particularly optimistic away at Sunderland. So the only thing is Sunderland could be tired, whereas Pep's got a whole team he can rotate, hasn't he? And still put out a great lineup. So we shall see. But Pep might over tinker. You know what he's like.
Craig, don't put him off Captain Dallo because I want to use the violin again on Friday.
There's no way you can put him off doing anything.
Okay, all right. Thank you everyone for watching. So this is a slightly different plan. So hopefully joining me for the next 3 podcasts, well, certainly the next 2 podcasts will be Trig, Darius, and Kanji. So we're going on Friday at 6 p.m. This Friday because the deadline's on Saturday, I believe. Then next Monday at the same time as we're on this Monday, the 5th of January at 6 p.m. So I believe the deadline's on a Tuesday, and then we're back to normal on a Wednesday at 6 p.m. But that's not to the 14th of January. And the lock-in will stay the same. Hopefully, Darius, as long as Anderson doesn't make him ill again. So we'll be on 7:40 on Saturday every game week. Yeah, please like and subscribe if you're new around here, lads. Anything you want to say? Oh, close the captaincy poll, of course, which I forgot to do last podcast. So we have got Haaland on 63%, Cunha 18%, Dallo 12%, Szoboszlai Kanji only on 7%.
Bro, I'm surprised people even clicked that. What the heck?
That was you.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
7 times. Darius, are you doing watch-alongs, mate, for the next 3 nights? Two Tuesday and Thursday the games, aren't they?
2 nights. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow. Deadline stream. Late mail. We're going to premiere it again, probably like we did the last time. That was actually easier to do. I don't know what I'm going to put in it, but I'm working on it when I wake up in the morning after I go back to sleep now. But yeah, live watch along tomorrow. Then New Year's Day, I think it is the next lot of games, which I think
Thursday's New Year's Day, I think.
Yeah, Thursday night UK. But it's Friday for me. So yeah. They'll be definitely on doing both of them. Prepared for that. Might even be doing a bit of a loose watch along with the boys at some point as well, because I think we're doing something on New Year's Day at my mates, and we might be rolling on and doing a live stream from there. So Timu Jesus might even be on the beers and on the watch along. So that could be interesting to watch.
Kanji?
If you want to find any more of my content, you can hit me up on Twitter at Kanji FPL.
I'll just search Dirty Dom.
I put that in the other day and a very weird video came up. You weren't in it, Kanji. I won't go into that anymore.
All
Craig,
right,
where
cool.
can we find you, my good friend? And apart from here, planning to do much content? Nick?
Yeah, usual place. Trig talks up. I was just looking at the fixtures. It's a bit weird this week, isn't it? We got like a day off.
Yeah, I sort of think I sort of wish we'd have planned a lock-in for Wednesday, but
Yeah, in between, because there is a day off with no fixtures in the middle of it.
No, but then we'd be on 4 times. We'd be on 4 times in a week then.
Well, we
Oh
can see
my
how
God.
we can see how we feel, can't we? Maybe we can.
We can
do
say,
an
yeah, when
Hey,
yeah,
we
man,
don't want to do that. It's New Year's Eve for us. That's not a good time.
Well, it's New Year's
not-
Eve. That's
I'm
the
not-
other reason. Yeah, exactly. That's the other reason I didn't do it, Darius. Exactly. My mum.
I'm
and
not.
sister
I'm
are
not
just
even
gonna have
going
to kill
out.
me.
I'm not going out New Year's Eve. I hate New Year's Eve. Everyone goes out and gets
very
blind drunk. You
expensive.
can't get a blooming Uber or anything, and it's like a nightmare, isn't it? Everyone's out forcing themselves to go out. I'd rather go out on other nights when there's not so many people about.
You gonna better drink by New Year's Eve, Darius?
Antibiotics, the last bit of them is today. So thank the Lord.
All right, lovely. Thanks for joining us, lads. Please do join us. Thanks to everyone watching. Please do join us on the podcast on Friday night and the lock-in on Saturday. And wishing you all green arrows for game week 19. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, people.